They weren't kidding when they said that the marketing for the Way of Water was going to ramp up in November, as we got 2 new images that surfaced, which actually gives us a lot of details on the Way of Water. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. And these images was originally posted on Twitter by Kelutalo, and I will leave a link of that Twitter post in the description below. Now I do want to warn you that these images does contain potential spoilers to the Way of Water, so be aware of that when continuing to watch this video. So the first image that was shown is a brand new image of Jake, and we can see that he is pretty messed up in the scene. You can see that his scars does match up with those that we see in the teaser trailer. However, the difference here is that his scars seems to be patched up and all the blood markings and cuts are dry. So this scene likely takes place towards the end of the movie after the final battle. If you look closely at Jake's face, you can clearly see that it's almost as if he's about to tear up, likely mourning the loss of somebody close. And as I've speculated before, I do think that this is likely the funeral scene of Neytiri. Also, judging by the fact that he has this white markings over his face, this white paint across his face, heavily implying that this is probably what they do to honor the dead. And what I also noticed is if you look at Jake's face and around the lower part of his body, you can see that it almost looks like it's lit up, as if he's standing in front of a fire, but not a fire from a battle, more a fire being lit at a funeral. This does make me wonder if that scene is connected to one of the scenes at the end of the teaser trailer where we saw Tonowari and Runel standing with the Metkayina tribe, and if you look at the tribe in the background, you can see that all of them or most of them has torches in their hands, and looking at their facial expressions, they seem to be very sad, full of emotions, again hinting that this is probably a funeral. And like I said, the light shining on Jake's body is almost similar to that shining on the Metkayina clan, but obviously he's not standing next to a torch or holding a torch, probably just a couple of feet away, hence you get small hints of light shining on his body. What I also noticed in the scene is that right behind Jake, you can see KIRI and an elu with somebody sitting on the elu right behind KIRI. This is likely Tuktiri, as the person is much smaller, almost childlike, but again, if you look very closely to the person sitting behind KIRI, that could also be Spider. I say that because the skin tone of the person sitting behind KIRI has the same tone as Spider, and we know based on a recent interview from Sigourney Weaver that KIRI and Spider are very close. You can also faintly see some torches right above the head of KIRI, and if you look on the other side of Jake's shoulder, you can also see somebody in the water with possibly an elu, that person likely being Loak. Now going back to the new trailer, if you listen to what Loak says about the Way of Water, he says it in a very emotional way.
The Way of Water connects all things before your birth and after your death.
Come to think of it, this is possibly a speech that he gives at a funeral, again the funeral of his brother, and Jake and Neytiri's firstborn, Neytiri. This scene also takes place during the night, and we know in a shot during the trailer where Tonowari shakes the hand of Jake, you can see that Jake is still busted up in that scene, but as mentioned before, Tonowari's tone and expression is showing sympathy to Jake, realizing that this war has some heavy consequences. This scene likely takes place in the morning before the funeral and after the main battle, and thus looking again at this image of Jake, it does give away a lot more than I expect. One more thing I noticed as I was finishing up the recording is if you zoom in very closely to Jake's eyes, you can actually see the reflection of a torch, again implying that this is the same scene where you see Tonowari and Runel in the water. The second scene is a shot of KIRI in a different angle from the same scene we've seen before, and this new image gives us potentially one of the biggest spoilers on the Way of Water. Now again, this is potential spoilers, so just be wary of that, but you can see KIRI pressing up against a tank with the body inside, and that body is likely Grace's avatar. Yes, this is likely Grace's avatar. Now I say that because if you look at that yellow part on the hair just in the middle, that matches up to the area where we see Grace's avatar next to her body. As you can see, there's a small part of her hair that has beads in it, and it also has the color yellow in it. Not only that, but if you look at Grace's avatar body, you can see that the patterns really does match up with this avatar that KIRI is looking at. And from the leaked audio from D23, there is a section where you can hear KIRI pressing up to a tank, and she says, "Hi mom," indicating that KIRI could potentially be the daughter of Grace, or at least Grace's avatar, hence why she looks very much like human with the eyebrows, the teeth, the 5 fingers, much like Lo'ak. And Lo'ak is the son of a Na'vi and an Avatar, thus if KIRI is the daughter of an Avatar, that would make sense. And again, like I said, in the D23 leaked audio, she presses up to the tank and says "Mom" to Grace's avatar. I mean, why else would she say that if Grace was not her mother? Now, if you do go back and look at that Empire magazine picture where KIRI is looking at a video log of Grace, you can see that the way she looks at Grace, it's almost a look of sadness, like mourning, like you miss somebody, or that you look at somebody that you never met. And even in the audio during the scene, you can hear that jokes are being made about Grace's avatar being knocked up. In other words, being pregnant. Going back to this new image again, you can see that KIRI does have the recon breather around her neck, so I do wonder where this scene takes place, as we not only saw Spider in the background during the previous image, but listening to the audio again, it does sound like there is another person with KIRI and Spider in the scene. I'm not entirely sure if it's Lo'ak or Netaim, but regardless, this seemed like an area which is almost like a safe space, and where Jake could have kept Grace's avatar for whatever reason, and reasons we'll likely find out soon. But as I said, these 2 images gives away quite a bit of information regarding the Way of Water. But what do you think about these 2 images? Do you think that my theory about the funeral and about Grace's avatar is correct? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Avatar content, have a look at the rest of my channel. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.